Jay got all trophies, man. That's because he signed that contract.
What contract?
The one with Beyonce. If you don't sign, you don't give him a trophy, she ain't coming.
Oh, the Beyonce done ran down on you once, Fifth. Come on.
No, she did. Worse, she jumped off the thing, off the ledge. I was like, I didn't really know what to do. There's the Jay. If he says the Jay in his face, he'll look at you and go, nah, that happened.
So Beyonce jumped down on you.
She jumped down. Oh, she was like on a windowsill.
Right.
We was in Vegas. She said, come on, I'm talking to her. She jumped down. She was like, go. And I'm like, wait, what is she doing? That stuff, that's me and Jay-Z stuff. This ain't got nothing to do with you, girl. Don't come
So
on.
Hov wasn't there?
I'm talking to Jay.
You're talking to Jay.
As soon as I talked to Jay, she jumped down, came over. I said, oh, look at this.
They about to jump you.
You lucky Solange wasn't there.
Yeah, you lucky Solange wasn't there.
Solange was there. I would have had to reboot. Huh? What?
So what did B say? Or she was just staring at you?
Nah, she came like she was ready. Like I thought something was going to happen. And I'm like, yo, whoa. She's throwing me off now. Because I don't know exactly how to respond to this. You are still Beyonce. Uh-oh. I'm sitting on this stuff going, she goes, what is this case? I'm like, wait, what happened?
Some fans believe Beyonce is quietly stepping back to protect her brand, her peace, and the legacy she's spent decades building. Others think she may be weighing something far bigger, whether remaining tied to Jay-Z is worth the growing pressure that keeps surrounding his name. The question floating everywhere right now is simple but heavy. Is this a strategic pause, a silent distancing, or the first real sign that she's done playing industry politics and ready to move strictly on her own terms? What's clear is that Jay-Z already felt the shift coming. He reportedly knew 50 Cent was circling, lining him up as the next major focus.
He sat down to explain some of this on the Sherry show yesterday, and she said, it shocked a lot of people to see this personal footage of Diddy. I know 50, the way you run. This cannot be all that you have. Is there other stuff that has not been shown? He said, yeah, well, there's some stuff that couldn't make it in because there was only 4 episodes in the Netflix Diddy documentary. And then Sherry asked 50 Cent, does this mean that there's going to be a part 2 of the Netflix Diddy documentary? And he said that he's just going to put it on YouTube. This was not the only time in this interview that this man said this. Like, he is sure on YouTube for whatever reason, and he was even laughing about it. And in my opinion, I feel like why he wants to put this on YouTube is because Netflix probably wouldn't let him put in certain things because of liability. I think this is one of the main reasons why some of the things weren't talked about in the Diddy documentary. But like I said, also, he is cut down to a certain amount of time. Netflix gave him 4 episodes, so he has to put everything in those 4 episodes. She asked him, out of all of the people that were coming forward, have there been any new tips that you have gotten since it's been released? He said, well, yeah.
What caught him off guard wasn't the talk. It was the visuals, the documentary footage, the long-form material, the depth. Many believed those moments were buried for good, forgotten, or protected by time. But when the documentary dropped, it became obvious that 50 wasn't bluffing. According to industry chatter, this wasn't rushed content. It wasn't reactionary. It was prepared, carefully structured. And now, the word moving quietly through music circles is that more material may surface, allegedly tying Jay-Z and Diddy together through behind-the-scenes decisions that were never meant to be examined publicly.
Speak about any of this, about
Beyonce
what's going
is
on.
losing hundreds of thousands, millions of followers every day. And she still hasn't said anything. Just pretending like life is great in Paris.
Is it her place to say something?
I mean, probably not, considering she's going to be indicted for anything she would say. These are criminals. Diddy is a drug dealer, and so is Jay-Z. The proof is there. How many people does he have to be around before people see him for who he is?
It seems like these artists are trying to run away from their past. Diddy changed his name multiple times to say, that's not me. I'm trying to move beyond Diddy. I'm love now.
What kind of love? Baby oil love? Baby love? Explicit love, hey!
That warning, people say, has already been sent, loud enough for those involved to hear it clearly. What's raising eyebrows even more is the reported scale of what 50 is allegedly holding. Insiders claim over 140 hours of recorded material exists, and whether that number is exact or not, the implication alone has the industry uneasy. That amount of footage doesn't just tell a single story. It shows behavior patterns, timelines, repeated interactions, long-standing relationships. It creates context, not just moments. Those close to the situation describe the strategy as slow pressure, not shock value. The kind of pressure that forces people to reconsider old decisions, past alliances, and forgotten connections. It's not about chaos. It's about control of the narrative. And that's where the long-standing tension between 50 Cent and Jay-Z becomes relevant again.
I think Jay-Z was born in like 69 or 67, something like that, 67 right there, 69. I think he was born in 69. Beyonce, they said she was born in 81. You understand? But back then, in 81, when we was in the club together, 98, 99, she wasn't even supposed to be in the club, but she was in the club. It was Club Eugene's. And Jay was dating her. And at that time, if you look at Jay's age, he was about 30 years old. So, isn't she still somewhat a child? To me, she is. But I guess they protect child. That's how you protect a child, dating her at the age of 30-some years old, and she's 17, 18 years old. If that's her true age. We really don't know her true age because Gabrielle Union said she went to junior high school with her.
Their history didn't start overnight. It's rooted in power, pride, and positioning. Jay-Z has often been accused by critics of acting as a gatekeeper, someone who allegedly controlled access, blocked momentum, or redirected opportunity when it threatened his dominance. 50, on the other hand, built his reputation on survival, visibility, and bringing people with him, even when the industry tried to count him out repeatedly. Now that contrast is being revisited with fresh eyes. And although Beyoncé hasn't acted directly, her name keeps getting pulled into the conversation simply by association. As the spotlight tightens around Jay-Z and his inner circle, online speculation has escalated, with claims suggesting he was present at Diddy's so-called private gatherings. So, space is now described by critics as secretive and reckless. None of these claims are proven, but the internet doesn't wait for proof. It connects dots. Old photos resurface. Long-standing rumors get replayed. Silence becomes fuel. Some voices go even further, pushing the idea that Beyoncé may have been aware of what was happening and chose not to react.
That we're ready to come forward. This might help them feel a little more confident now. So this is great because he's been evading. But the thing is, everyone in the backdrop knew that he was the celebrity John Doe. Everybody knew that. They knew it when I did Pierce Morgan.
Is Beyonce celebrity B?
I hope to God not. But she was around.
Mm.
And she's very, she's got enough on her plate. After everything that happened with the election and everything that's happening right now, I'm not going to dump on that woman. She got better fish to fry.
Well,
what I will say is that her husband, she knows exactly who he is.
Others suggest she was surrounded by a system that normalized behavior outsiders would question immediately. Again, these are allegations, not facts, but critics argue that silence creates space for interpretation, especially when powerful figures don't address growing narratives. Names like Piers Morgan have even been pulled into the discussion, after comments suggesting certain individuals aren't rushing to defend themselves. That alone sent social media into overdrive. One of the more uncomfortable angles resurfacing involves claims about industry power dynamics early in Beyoncé's career. Commentators argue that age gaps, influence, and control were common in that era, and that young artists often trusted decisions made by adults around them. That context is now being revisited with far more scrutiny and frustration than before. No proof has surfaced to confirm these claims, but the conversation keeps returning because it taps into broader fears about power, silence, and how fame reshapes moral boundaries. Critics say growing up inside an environment like that can normalize behavior that wouldn't be accepted elsewhere. That's why some speculate Beyoncé may have appeared unbothered by certain situations, not because of indifference, but because of conditioning. Not choice, but environment. And whether that interpretation is fair or not, it continues to circulate. As the discussion widens, other names keep getting pulled in, including artists like Rihanna, with rumor pages suggesting she too was exposed to complicated industry dynamics long before the public noticed. Again, nothing proven. But the pattern of speculation keeps expanding as attention intensifies. It's important to say this clearly from the start. Everything being discussed here falls under allegations, interpretations, and public speculation, not proven facts. Still, many fans believe this atmosphere is exactly why Beyoncé and Jay-Z appear more guarded lately, because once public scrutiny starts rolling, it rarely stays limited to a single headline or moment.
To go at Jay, yeah, he was. They worked it out.
Was there a reason behind it?
I couldn't tell you the reason behind it. It's probably because Big had died. I don't know what it was, man. I don't know why he wanted Ja Rule to go at Jay. I guess if he kept them beefing or kept them into some bullshit, he could rise up in between both of them. You know what I mean?
What people are really talking about isn't one story. It's momentum. The belief circulating online is that if the industry truly starts opening up, more voices could come forward with accounts involving pressure, control, and manipulation at the highest levels. Stories that, according to critics, may have been ignored, minimized, or quietly buried for years. None of this has been verified, but the sheer volume of speculation highlights something important. Public trust in elite industry circles has eroded. Names that once felt untouchable are now being questioned openly. Gene Deal has repeatedly been quoted saying that both Jay-Z and Diddy understood power, influence, and leverage long before audiences ever did, and that contrast is where many people start drawing lines. From Gene's perspective, Diddy operated loudly and visibly. He was front-facing, flashy, and constantly in public view. Jay-Z, by contrast, allegedly moved in quieter spaces, private meetings, corporate rooms, controlled environments where problems could be handled quickly and quietly. That difference in visibility is why some believe one figure absorbs public pressure first, while another stays shielded for years. According to Gene, this wasn't accidental. It was strategic. He described Jay-Z's approach as moving smart, limiting access, and keeping a tight circle. When situations began to look unstable, Jay-Z allegedly avoided environments that could later create backlash. Diddy, on the other hand, built an empire by being everywhere, knowing everyone, and remaining highly visible in public spaces.
Yo, Puff, take this out doing that. Let me explain something to y'all. All right? Whether it's NDAs, whether it's whatever. When these young boys come in, first of all, he only deal with young videographers because he want to rob them, and he know that they want the opportunity to follow Puff Daddy, P. Diddy. They want that opportunity. So they get him at a low price anyway. But when you stay out so many hours a day, Puff wants a videographer with him 24 hours a day on call. Whether we on a yacht, whether we on a ship, wherever we at, he wants to videotape that, right? So now, they come to agreement. They come to whatever the pay is going to be. But then it be so many hours on that invoice that he don't want to pay. He gets in touch with the office. He gets in touch with the chief of staff. Yo, what is this I'm paying? What is this I'm paying? You know what you paying. You was outside all of these hours. It's 160 something hours in a week. You was outside 140. That's the invoice he put in. So now, being if you got a contract and he don't stand to that contract.
Gene argues that Jay-Z's strategy reflects learned behavior rooted in long-term survival inside the industry. This is also where Gene strongly pushed back on statements made by Jay-Z's legal team, claiming that Jay and Diddy were never truly close. In Gene's view, closeness in that world doesn't always resemble normal friendships people understand. He pointed to public moments on stage where Diddy appeared comfortable enough to approach Jay-Z, touch him casually, and make bold statements such as saying only Jay-Z could call him by his real name. Gene believes those moments sent a clear signal about access, trust, and inner circle familiarity. Gene questioned how anyone could later claim there was no closeness after such statements were made publicly, especially when those kinds of comments usually signal deep familiarity within elite circles. He also said Jay-Z himself made remarks over the years that reinforced the idea that the connection ran deeper than what's currently being admitted. In Gene's telling, they were aligned enough in lifestyle, timing, and social circles that people around them noticed repeated patterns, who they associated with, how they moved, and how they appeared together when their paths crossed. From that perspective, the sudden public distance now feels less like truth and more like damage control, especially as the spotlight grows hotter. Among critics, trusting Diddy is being labeled one of the biggest miscalculations Jay-Z and Beyoncé ever made. The narrative spreading online suggests that Diddy allegedly prioritized self-preservation above loyalty, even if that meant others were pulled into the fallout. Observers say this pattern becomes more concerning when legal relationships are dragged into the chaos as well. Legal commentators have been especially focused on how Diddy allegedly handled his longtime defense attorney, Mark Agnifilo. Many point out that Mark played a key role in protecting Diddy in the past through calculated legal strategy. That's why critics describe it as disturbing that conversations believed to be private were allegedly recorded, creating questions around trust, boundaries, and ethics. While attorney-client privilege legally belongs to the client, analysts emphasize that the expectation of confidentiality still matters on a human level. From Mark's perspective, those conversations were reportedly understood to be protected, not preserved, for future use, and that detail alone has added another layer of discomfort to an already tense situation. He was allegedly speaking openly, not just as legal counsel, but as someone genuinely trying to steer a reckless client away from disaster before an arrest ever happened.
Footage that where Diddy is behind the scenes talking to his lawyer and all of this stuff, and people are like, damn, what was Diddy recording it? Well, Diddy was recording it because he thought he was about to beat the case. So he wanted to do a Netflix documentary. Didn't pay the guy, and then 50 got all 140 hours of footage of secret Diddy tactics. Well, there's a guy named Neil who was mentioned in the court, works right up under Diddy, was organizing everything. Allegedly, they are saying that he is on video, film, tampering with witnesses, giving out addresses, offering money, bribing, we'll pay for your lawyers, all kind of shit that could be counted as witness tampering, obstruction of justice. And 50, of all people, has his hands on this footage. And I'm hearing that this could implicate Diddy's lawyers in some bullshit.
According to people following the case, the disturbing part is the idea that those moments of honest advice may have been secretly recorded without his knowledge, turning serious legal strategy into material that could later be used against everyone involved. One moment that keeps resurfacing is Mark allegedly saying something along the lines of, "You are messing this up. You're damaging your own case. We are losing control of this," all while believing the conversation was private. Critics argue that once a hidden camera is rolling, the entire dynamic changes. What should be honest legal guidance suddenly starts to look like performance footage, stripped of context and intention. That's why many are calling this situation an extreme breach of trust, even if it technically sits in a gray legal area. The conversation has now shifted toward Jay-Z, with reports claiming he is allegedly exploring cease and desist options to prevent a documentary tied to this footage from being released. The public explanation being floated is that the material was obtained illegally, but people close to the situation say that explanation doesn't tell the full story. According to those claims, 50 Cent didn't sneak around or exploit a loophole. Instead, he allegedly purchased the footage legally after Diddy failed to pay his videographer and editor. The story circulating is that Diddy had already been filming his life non-stop, planning a personal documentary for future release. His alleged mistake wasn't filming everything, it was refusing to pay the people doing the work. Once payments stopped, ownership allegedly shifted. Contracts changed hands, rights transferred, and that's when 50 reportedly stepped in and bought the footage outright. No backdoor deals, no theft, just paperwork, invoices, and receipts. Industry insiders also claim Diddy had a long-standing pattern of working with young videographers who wanted access, exposure, and proximity to power. The allegation is that these creatives were offered minimal pay for extreme hours, following him everywhere, and as in around studios, yachts, late-night calls, non-stop movement. When overtime invoices piled up, critics say Diddy allegedly pushed back, creating tension that eventually exploded. As one commentator bluntly put it online, how did 50 get the footage? Because the work got done and the bill never got paid. Now, with footage out of his control and longtime allies creating distance, many people believe this entire situation looks self-inflicted, built on ego, shortcuts, and the assumption that influence would always clean up the fallout. Online chatter has even escalated to speculation that Beyoncé and Jay-Z could be facing serious strain if this documentary ever drops. Sources claim Beyoncé is exhausted by repeatedly having her brand placed at risk by alleged secrecy, patterns of infidelity, and unresolved controversies. For years, she's fought hard to protect her image, rebuild public trust, and preserve the Beyoncé brand after public betrayals. But insiders suggest this moment feels different, heavier, louder, and harder to contain. The public is watching every move, every silence, and every reaction. Pressure is mounting fast. Some critics online have long described the Jay-Z and Beyoncé relationship as complicated, even unhealthy, pointing back to early industry dynamics where power, age gaps, and influence allegedly blurred boundaries. These claims are unproven, but they continue resurfacing because they tap into larger conversations about control and imbalance in the industry. On top of that, repeated allegations of cheating and secrecy have fueled questions about whether trust can survive this level of scrutiny. According to industry observers, Jay-Z has never faced pressure like this before. For decades, he moved through media and elite spaces with an image that seemed untouchable. But this time, critics say that S.H.I.E.L.D. looks thinner than ever. Old accusations, new footage, and non-stop public attention have placed him in unfamiliar territory. Fans, skeptics, and even longtime supporters are now asking the same question. Could this finally be the breaking point for the most powerful couple in music? Does Beyoncé step away to protect the empire she's built over decades, or does she stay and weather the storm alongside Jay-Z? And if 50 Cent truly has all the footage and receipts he claims, who else in the industry could be pulled into the spotlight next? Now, we want to hear from you. Drop your thoughts in the comments and tell us what you think happens next. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe so you don't miss any updates. Because this story is far from over, and the next reveal could come at any moment.